comes like World Rally Challenge up sideways, 45 degrees sideways, saves it like this. In high school and college, when you start getting into cars, you start getting a bug, you start trying to figure out what can I get? What is cool? What's the next thing? And obviously I like wild things and love racing. I figured out about a car called a Manta Mirage, which is a 70s kit car with Chevy V8 powered, used a Corvair transaxle 4-speed tube frame. They effectively had a McLaren Mark 8F body on it. So, hey, if I can find one of these things, this is as close as I'm gonna get as a college kid to having a Can-Am car. I actually got one, fixed it up, sold it. And I looked at my dad, I'm like, Dad, I've got like $20,000. I'm like, you and I should go in together and buy a Ferrari. We should get a 308, because back then you could get a pretty nice one for $30,000, maybe a little more. And so, long story short, we did. And you know, the Ferrari needed timing belts. And I'm like biting my nails. I'm like, oh God, Ferrari engine, don't blow it up. But you know, this is like everything I own with my dad. And I'm not gonna take it to a dealership because you know how those cost. So the guy who owned it gave me a name for his private little Ferrari service shop where they service it there. It's called NJB. Jack Babbitt owned it, still does, nice guy. I ended up taking it there. I just kind of entrusted the mechanic, seemed really talented and real, and they were nice to me. And so we took it there to do the belts. And when I went to drop it off, I told them what I thought, and I heard some noises, was showing that, and we got to talking about the Manta and the other things I'd done in the past. And they had a real Can-Am car there that they were servicing for a guy, you know, like small block Chevy, Hewlin, tube frame, had like a Lola T160 body. We're talking legit Can-Am car, not the Manta Mirage, right? He goes, Casey, tell you what, I was gonna go to lunch. Your dad's here. If you wanna go to lunch with me, we can take the Can-Am car and I'll let you drive it. I'm like, yes, please. So we get in it, he shows me, and I'd never driven you know, a real dog racing box yet, Hewlin. And I'm like, okay, so what do I need to know? He's like, you can shift it without the clutch, do this and that, you know, and I'd driven karts and all before. And I'm like, yes, here we go. Keep in mind, no helmets, country roads, your head's out in the Airstream, no goggles. I didn't actually realize that it was a dog leg first. I didn't know, I was young. So I stuck it in second to start. I'm like, this is tall, I gotta slip the clutch for a long way. But I'm like, this is the country, I know what to do, let's go. So, boom, boom. I just basically met this guy, Can-Am car, countryside, going for it, Airstream. I hit what I thought was fourth gear, and about topping out, we're probably at like 6,000, 6,500 in fourth gear, but it's actually fifth, I didn't realize it. We're boom, like this, I'm like, yeah. And I remember he's like, I go to shift into what I thought was fifth, but there's no fifth because I'm already in fifth. And he's like, let's come down a little bit. It was amazing he kind of trusted me enough or thought this was okay, because when does this happen? And we came around this last corner, and it's like this, it wasn't quite a 90-degree corner, it was a little less. And I'm like, I think I should come through this corner sideways a little bit, step out like my go-kart when I was a kid, so like this. And he's like, oh, but I'm like, yes. And I got it and came back real composed, no big deal. And I'm like, that was great, thank you. But the amazing thing was he's like, well done. And actually, I wanted to see how you did because we were talking about it, and we're really impressed by the stuff you've done, and we want to hire you to work on cars. I'm like, really? A job? Working on Ferraris? I'm like, cool. I didn't get paid anything, and that's okay. I was excited. You know, I had to learn, of course. But my senior year in college, I worked part-time at a private Ferrari shop. We did major services to Testarossas, 512 TRs, BBIs, 308s, 328s, and some vintage stuff. I remember my first day working there, they had a 330, I don't know, it was like a GT, probably 2+2, two headlight one, nice car, it was original. And we were fixing some of the switches and the Bakelite and being really nice to it, and we just tested something with it, and we're coming back, and I was driving it, and I was just sitting there with my left blinker on to turn in, and some loony didn't see we stopped. And all of a sudden I look at my mirror and go, no! And he misses it, but this guy like misses the Ferrari, goes down in a ditch, sideways, like 6-foot deep ditch in this like ratty old 80s station wagon, National Lampoons, comes like World Rally Challenge up sideways, 45 degrees sideways, saves it like this. And we look at each other and go, wow, maybe that guy's a better driver than we are. It was just so amazing, and I love driving in the cars. I can still remember driving like this bright yellow Ferrari 512 TR. Had a 2B exhaust, it was loud, chrome wheels. And we came away from this 4-way stop coming back to the shop, and there was this long building, and the exhaust echoed off that, the flat 12, the 2B. And I'm just like, oh God, wow. Just like the most thick and rich butter you can just like drizzle on. I was just like, oh my God. And I just fell in love with these things. And the guy across the street had a Lancia Stratos road racing car. Got a ride in that back in the day, just ripping it down the roads. That was amazing. We did this Diablo. I remember the license plate said laptop. And people get vanity plates, oftentimes with how they were able to acquire the car, what gave them their wealth. And a client comes and goes, laptop, huh? Is he an IBM or computer guy? I'm like, no, strip club. Like, yes, Diablo, cliche. But that car was beautiful and sounded great too. And I just remember being so nervous working on these cars sometimes, like we're changing a clutch in this, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so, like, this car's worth more than I am. And he's like, dude, it's a car, you'll be fine, you're talented. So I gained a lot of confidence and owe a debt of gratitude in a way, because that was the first great shot I got. They believed in me as a young person, and that's something that carried with me to believe in young people and help them have a leg up. In college, I majored in industrial design. There were fine art components to that, there some robotics, and of course I did lots of engineering work, especially out at with Formula SA and things like that. So this is an interesting major, but my senior year, there was this class. There was this robotic art, and I'd already taken the class, and the second semester to take it, the professor really gave me just like free reign. He just trusted me and let me do my thing, which I didn't do squat all semester. I like thought about it and, kind of told him what I was thinking. I'm gonna like a week before, so I'm like, I need to pass this class to graduate. I should probably do something really good right about now. And so I'm like, this art? It's art, it's fine art, but it's robotics and it's engineering. I'm like, okay. So I go home and I get a bunch of like old tools, like power drills and a grinder and like an old slot car chaparral model and like, I don't even know, like crazy like little drill press and things like this. And I'm like, and I'm at the Ferrari shop and they let me work on a car of my own there in the evenings. And so I had access to tools and welder and stuff. I'm like, I gotta make this art. So I built this thing. It looked very industrial, very patinaed, and had servos and an Arduino in it, and I had things swing. And how I made this work was, there was the drill, and there's two electronic things, and so you plugged it in the wall, which ran the Arduino, which ran the servos, and I'm like, what if I can find a really gritty industrial way to turn on the full AC to the drill and everything? So I just had bare wires with the servos that would go like, psh, psh, like this, and every time it would do it, I didn't do this at the Ferrari shop, mind you. But when I tested it at school, every time it would do that, when copper burns, it burns green. It would shoot like green flaming sparks, man. But it would work. It was really cool. I mean, this was art. I had to go to this presentation. This was the big studio thing, and I, gotta get there on time, and I have to do this to graduate. This is my only grade for this one kind of silly class to graduate. And I locked the keys in my Porsche 944 that was my daily driver. Naturally asked for it. I'm like, crap. And I'm like, I guess I could bust the little window. I've got an extra one. And I'm like, bam. And I'm like, I don't know how to break a window clearly because this is going to bounce off in my face. Thankfully, my roommate let me drive there, and I get there late. We're in an art gallery, okay? Nice art gallery. There's no more podiums left. You know what I mean? Like those pedestals that are like marble or like black or these beautiful, amazing, modern art studio. And I'm like, oh boy, this is not looking good. I have got to Ferris Bueller MacGyver this right now. So I go running around the building. And I'm like, oh God, what do I do? Chair, this, that. And I find, like the old time steel trash cans from like schools in the 70s that are rusty and green and round. I'm like, I'm gonna get that. Maybe I can find a cover or something to put it over. And I run down, I'm like, act like you know what you're doing. And I walk into the art gallery with this trash can that's rusty and probably still stinks like bananas. And then I put my dangerous patinaed like mechanical artwork on the top of it and plug it in. And this guy that runs the gallery comes up and he goes, whoa, 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 whoa. You're gonna put it on that? You can't do that. And at that moment, my art professor comes up to me and I knew I had won in art because he goes, no, the student and I, we're going for that aesthetic. And inside I went, win. And I'm like, okay, but I still got to not burn the place down. And I plugged it in. I can't believe they let that fly. It's working. Spark, fire hazard. They love it. They're artists. They just go for it. I don't know. They probably drank half a bottle of absinthe on the way there. And I remember going like, I can't believe this is working. It worked out great, but it was a very silly way it happened. And I looked at him and said, all I want to know is, do I get to graduate? And he said, yes. So thank you, Ferrari shop job. It also helped me graduate from my art class.
shrewd negotiation starts with finding the right car, and the best way to do that is with Autotempest.com. Autotempest allows you to compare the results from Craigslist nationally with all the top listing sites. So visit Autotempest.com today and see where your next dream car is hiding.